Hello everyone, I'm back with Dragon Ball Z Rewrite, and of course it's gonna go into Namek and the peril that the remaining Z fighters on Earth will face as an evil force that has invaded the peaceful planet of Namek for its elusive Dragon Balls. Will the fighters from Earth get their wish to revive their friends, or will they succumb to the tyrannical Emperor of the universe? Find out this episode of Dragon Ball Z Rewrite. And just want to say thank you guys so much for the support. It truly helps me out a ton and keeps me motivated. If you guys wish to support me more, share my content around. You guys watching and enjoying what I create is all I ever ask for. So again, thank you guys, but let's cut it short and get right into this. A while after the group fights with the Prince of All Saiyans, they are currently resting up in the hospital, healing from their injuries. Goku was the most beat up. Krillin and Gohan were injured, but pretty okay, with Gohan of course having Saiyan genes to thank for that, while Chaozu was luckily unharmed, deciding to keep his distance and attack from long range. Krillin had just suggested the idea that because Piccolo is an alien and a Namekian, his home planet should have Dragon Balls. Bulma, who is in the room with them, chimes in, wondering how they are going to even build a ship fast enough and where to even locate Piccolo's homeworld. However, suddenly, a voice can be heard inside their heads.
I can help out.
What? Who is this? King Kai!
I'm King Kai, the one who gave Goku his godly training.
While snorting giggles can be heard. King Kai, can you help us get to Piccolo's homeworld? Goku asks.
Normally, I shouldn't interfere with the mortal realm, but this will be the only exception. I can give you the coordinates to planet Namek, the origin of Kami and Piccolo.
King Kai replies. Well, that's great, but how are we gonna get there? Goku asks. That is where I come in, a different voice replies. Mr. Popo, they all shout out, except Chi-Chi, who didn't know who he was. Mr. Popo tells them about Kami's old ship he used to arrive on Earth centuries ago, and with this, the group chose who to go. Bulma, of course, was the first to volunteer, as they needed a pilot and engineer. Krillin wanted to go as a bodyguard in case anything happens. Chaozu also wanted to go because he wanted to see his friends get revived, and most surprising of all, Gohan. Chi-Chi of course absolutely denies Gohan, but this is when Gohan stood up to her, shocking her as she fell to the floor, wondering what happened to his son. Goku didn't mind Gohan coming along, as he tells Chi-Chi that he could learn a lot of things in space. Goku unfortunately couldn't come along as his injuries were too severe, but said that he will be healed once they came back, once corn grows more senzu beans. 10 days later, Bulma fixed Kami's ship, allowing her along with Krillin, Chaozu and Gohan to head to Namek. Chi-Chi gave Gohan a bunch of books to study as well as cutting his hair before the trip. Krillin decides to visit Goku one last time before the trip. Of course, after not seeing his best friend in nearly a year, he wants to spend a little more time together before departing again on short notice. They joke around and reminisce about their past, with Krillin teasing Goku about being afraid of needles. Goku giggles before looking out the window.
Hey Krillin. Yeah, Goku?
You know, I heard about what you guys were doing from Chaozu and Gohan. Man, I wish I could join you guys for training.
Yeah.
But especially when you took care of Gohan for me while I was gone.
Yeah, just doing what I can. He's still a kid, so I couldn't just leave him on his own.
Yeah, thank you, Krillin, Goku says with sincerity. You know, all my life, I've always wanted to fight strong opponents to test the limits of my strength. It's just, knowing now that I'm a Saiyan and all, I guess I know the cause of this urge to get stronger. Krillin listens intently as Goku continues. I've met many strong guys and bad people as well. Like you, Krillin.
Oh jeez, you don't have to say that. You're still number one, of course.
Goku chuckles. Yeah, that's the thing. After I met you guys, Chi-Chi, then having Gohan, I found out there's more to just fighting. I don't know what I'll do if all of this never happened. Maybe I'll be more like those evil Saiyans. Krillin denies this, of course. Goku has always been different. But this brings me to my point, Krillin. If I'm not here, if I'm not around, could you take care of Gohan for me? Krillin was stunned. Where did this come from all of a sudden? Goku continues while giggling. I still like fighting, of course, but now there's more to fight for. I wouldn't be happy if I got people in danger because of it. Krillin chuckles. This does sound like Goku. He breathes a heavy sigh.
Of course, buddy. I'll take care of him. He'll be safe on Namek.
Thanks, Krillin. I know I could count on you. They laugh together, once calming down. Krillin puts out his fist, wanting to fist bump Goku. Goku smiles, looking at Krillin. Krillin, I can't move my hands.
Oh wait, I forgot about that.
They laugh once again before they say goodbye to each other and Krillin leaves. Then the group wave goodbye as they left the atmosphere. The trip to Namek will take over a month to arrive, even with a new alien ship. In the meantime, Krillin, Gohan, and Chaozu do some image training and light sparring. Over the month, they grew closer as friends, with Krillin taking on the teacher role to Gohan. Chaozu always thinks about Tien. He wishes he could be there with him. Right now, he must be lonely up there. Krillin sighs. He consoles the marshmallow. They should stay strong so they could revive all of their friends and see them again. Chaozu lights up, agreeing with Krillin. He shouldn't let Tien's or even Yamcha's sacrifice go in vain. He has other friends as well. Unexpectedly, a couple days in, King Kai informs the group that 3 individuals have broken Goku's record of fastest time to reach his planet. This being Piccolo, Tien, and Yamcha, of course. Krillin and Chaozu talk to him for a bit, before departing once more. This renews their confidence as they toughen up their training a bit more as not to fall behind the 3. A month passes as the ship arrives and lands on a green planet, its color originating from the green water this planet has. However, soon after landing, the 3 are immediately struck by multiple key signatures, with most being very evil. They get nervous, Bulma asking what's going on right now. Krillin tells her about the chaos they can sense on this planet right now. She quivers. It seems like there's going to be a lot more on their plate right now. 2 soldiers fly by, the group noticing. However, the soldiers do too. They call out to the group. They clearly don't look like the inhabitants of this planet. Who dares come in uninvited to Lord Frieza's parade? Wait, Lord Frieza? The group could notice Krillin's unease at hearing his name. Bulma quickly thinks about keeping the ship, trying to take out a capsule in order to do so. But the soldiers decide to blast the ship before she could do that, rendering them stranded on this planet. Enraged, the 3 Earthlings rush at the 2 soldiers. Not expecting the speed, they easily pummel them into the ground, rendering them unconscious. It seems like they were just regular foot soldiers. But now, what should they do? Meanwhile, King Kai frantically informs Goku that Lord Frieza is on planet Namek. Shocked at this, Goku needs to go as well to make sure his friends are okay, but also wanting to see what this Lord Frieza guy is made of. King Kai heavily forbids it. He's the strongest in the entire universe. There's no way Goku can fight him, but just in time, Korn teleports in Goku's hospital room and hands Goku a bag of senzu beans. Goku eats one and heals back to full health, getting a considerable boost in power as well. King Kai tries to persuade Goku not to go, but Goku just says sorry, but that's not gonna happen. He flies off to Castle Fort, reaching it in a matter of minutes before knocking on the door. Bulma's father opens up. Luckily for Goku, Dr. Breeze was also working on a spaceship of his own, being a new and improved version of Kami's ship with a built-in gravity room. The idea came from Bulma, who thought of this idea when Raditz said that the planet's gravity is weak. With this ship, it'll take Goku less than a week to arrive on Namek. Going back to the group, Bulma is informed of this new info and tells the group about it using a communicator she brought along for the hunt. Currently, they're searching for Dragon Balls using Bulma's radar. They luckily found a few. It seems like the enemy camp hasn't been successful in locating the Dragon Balls just yet. However, one Dragon Ball leads to what seems like a village. They can sense a really high power level there, so they hide behind some rocks and keep watch. It was a fat pink alien, who seems to be threatening a group of green aliens, which they guess must be a Namekians from the resemblance to Piccolo. Suddenly, the pink alien kills one they presume to be child Namekians. The group watch on in horror and shock. Gohan is range and nearly lashes out, however, he is held back by Krillin and Chaozu.
Calm down, Gohan. We need a plan,
Krillin says, trying to calm down the boy. Gohan calms down luckily, but vows to stop this monster. Listening in, he found out his name is Dodoria, and he's the one that massacred this entire village, except for an elder and a youngling. He threatens the elder for the Dragon Ball, but he doesn't give in. He'll sacrifice his life in order to save the Dragon Balls and the child. He fires a thin beam which shatters the scouter on Dodoria's face. Enraged, he was going to kill them as soon as the smoke clears up. However, once he did, he finds someone totally different in front of him. The humanoid shouts, "Solar Flare!" as a blinding light covers his vision. Krillin has just blinded Dodoria. Gohan then steps in and kicks Dodoria hard in the face, sending him flying. Krillin quickly grabs the youngling while Chaozu uses his telekinesis to grab the Elder in Dragon Ball. Gohan blasts the ground to create a smoke diversion as they quickly fled from the scene. Without a scouter, the pink alien has no way of tracking the three individuals. They hear the alien cursing as they flew farther and farther away. Once they are far enough away, they stop as the two Namekians thank them before the Elder, named Mori, informs them about Gu's palace. The young Namekian named Dende says that he knows the way as he guides the group to where this Elder Gu's location is. However, on the way, the radar picks up a bunch of Dragon Balls. They investigate, but they find Vegeta was there, fighting with another alien, this time a handsome green man. We flash back to Vegeta's POV. Vegeta had just arrived on his planet, also in search of the Dragon Balls. On his search, he encounters Dodoria, who he beats due to the Zenkai he gains after healing from his fight on Earth. Dodoria tells Vegeta the truth of Planet Vegeta's destruction in order to spare his own life, but Vegeta doesn't care and exterminates Dodoria. Zarbon, not understanding why Dodoria hasn't come back yet, searches for him and encounters Vegeta. They have a fierce battle. However, Zarbon reveals his trump card and beats Vegeta with his monster form. He then brings Vegeta back on Frieza's order, putting him in a healing pod so that he could be interrogated. However, once healed, Vegeta formulates a plan to distract Frieza and escape with the Dragon Balls on ship. Switching back to the Earth Warriors, we watch Vegeta fight as the other figure named Zarbon transforms. Even with this transformation though, Vegeta is able to come out on top, vaporizing Zarbon in the process. Vegeta notices the group and threatens them to hand over the Dragon Balls they are holding. The group didn't want to, but were forced to oblige. They soon arrive at the destination the two Namekians told them about. They were extremely wary of Vegeta, however, still took him along, as if things went south, the strongest warrior would be there to protect them. Vegeta followed along because he knew that the group knew of the locations of the Dragon Balls. They were greeted by the inhabitants of the village. They were wary, especially with Vegeta there. However, soon an incredibly powerful energy flashed in front of them. The sheer speed of this individual causes an upstorm of dust. The group shield their eyes, waiting for the dust to settle. Standing in front of them was Namek's strongest protector, Nail. Elder Mori requests an audience with Elder Gu, but is denied by Nail. You can't let outsiders into the sacred palace, especially Vegeta. However, he is soon interrupted by a booming voice in his head. The group watch on in confusion as Nail's facial expression changes. "I understand," Nail says before looking at the group. "Follow me," he orders. The group follow him to a tall building, far bigger than the rest of the housing in the village. He guides them to the entrance before saying, "You may enter." Most of the group nod as they walk inside the expansive palace. "Except you," Nail says, moving in front of Vegeta before he could walk in. Vegeta is angered by this, however, with his newly developed ki sensing that he learned from the humans after studying them during his battle. Plus, a Saiyan's natural skill to master abilities, he could tell that his power is not sufficient in order to beat Nail. He huffs as he stands beside the entrance, patiently waiting for the group to get the Dragon Balls and get out. Meanwhile, the group are face to face with a giant Namekian whose ancient age can be seen across his appearance. Then they more bow, with the Earthlings following in suit. "Raise your head," Guru bellows. He asks about their reason for visiting Namek, with the group answering that they just wanted to revive their friends and the people killed by the Saiyans. He beckons Krillin to his side, wanting to read their minds to see if their intentions are pure. He sees no lies and permits them to use the Dragon Balls. However, Namek is in peril. If they wish to use the Dragon Balls, they have to fight off the invaders. Elder Gu truly apologizes for bringing them into Namek's affairs, but wishes their help in defending his people. The group are hesitant. They really do want to help, but they could sense it. Sense the enormous malicious ki on the other side of their planet. With their current strength, they have no chance against that threat. However, Elder Gu can sense their turmoil and beckons Krillin to his side once more. The Elder wants to give them a gift in return for saving Mori and Dende. He places his large hand on Krillin's head once more, as their mysterious power courses through Krillin. Meanwhile, on the other side of the planet, a short individual with horns is seen in a hoverpod of sorts, leisurely drinking wine. But then, The scouter picks up a large spike in energy. What was that? The individual wonders, but just as it appeared, it disappeared. He looks around, trying to pick up the power again. Perhaps the scouter was faulty. Luckily, he requested a new batch of scouters to be brought with him by the Ginyu Force beforehand. With Vegeta rebelling against him and reports of unidentified individuals on Namek, he could never be too sure. Not that he couldn't handle it. Now, back to the Z-Warriors. As soon as the mysterious energy coursed through his body, an enormous amount of energy he has never felt in his life surged from his body. The group watched on as they were blown back by the sheer amount of energy radiating from Krillin. Vegeta, who was outside, could sense what was going on and demanded Nail to let him inside. However, Nail refused. Giving power to this despicable Saiyan would be bad, Nail thought. Luckily, as soon as it appeared, it disappeared as Elder Guru released its grip on Krillin's head.
What is this?
Krillin asked.
I could sense your latent potential ready to be unleashed. It is your power I simply brought out, Krillin of Earth.
Guru replies.
Wow, that's incredible.
This is the power I had all along? Krillin said, unable to believe it. His ki, it's so much more potent. His body felt stronger. He could feel his energy crackling with power. However, it wasn't over. Elder Guru beckons Chaozu next to come with him. To be honest, Chaozu was kinda intimidated by the presence of the Elder, and the power he could grant. He floats over to his side and takes off his hat as the Elder's palm rests on his head. The mysterious energy courses through him next as he's enveloped by an otherworldly feeling. As soon as he felt the energy surge, his eyes shot open, glowing a bright blue energy. He could feel the energy coursing through his mind. His thoughts accelerated as the blue energy then envelops his entire body.
My, what wonderful power this boy has,
the Guru thought, smiling as a bead of sweat rolls down his cheek. He releases his grip as Chaozu floats there, now with a newfound power in his hands. Chaozu felt stronger, but not just that, his telekinesis. He could feel it had somewhat evolved. Chaozu calms his energy down and returns back to Krillin. And lastly, it was Gohan's turn. Gohan is intimidated by the looming presence of the Elder as he felt his hand rest over his head. The energy then courses through the young boy's body as the process of unlocking potential begins once again. But something was wrong. On the outside, Nail was standing guard, but then a feeling of dread overtakes him. Sensing something was wrong, he looks back, seeing a blinding light emanating from where Guru was. He then senses it, the dense outpour of ki.
Damn it,
Nail thought as he rushes towards the bright light. Back inside the room, Krillin and Chaozu were barely standing their ground, Elder Mori and Dende having been flung back by the force of energy.
What is this energy?
Krillin barely manages to say out loud. He didn't pan to see where the source of energy was coming from. It was Gohan, his eyes a blank shade of red. Nail then bursts inside the room and immediately goes to pry the Elder's hands off the assassin. Once his grip was released, the surrounding areas calmed down. The villagers on the outside slowly rose back up. It seemed like an earthquake was shaking the entire area. Gohan's eyes returned back to normal as he regains his senses, looking around, wondering what was going on. It seemed like he was knocked out and something happened while he was gone. He then feels a dreadful presence coming from his side. He then turns around nervously and is met by Nail's stern gaze.
What did you do?
Nail says, with venom, trying to interrogate the young boy.
What did you do?
Nail nearly shouts, his anger prevalent as Gohan backs away, cowering in fear. However, before things could escalate, the Elder calls out to Nail.
Elder,
Nail says in worry, leaping to the side. You then pan to see the Elder's expression. He is panting, out of breath, sweating bullets, and a grim, nearly fearful expression on his face. He tells Nail that the boy did nothing wrong as he gathers himself again.
That boy. He has nearly a bottomless reservoir of power locked away,
the Elder says in his mind. It felt like he was reaching into a bottomless pit with no end in sight. The Elder grimaces. There was also a chaotic power hidden beneath the depths. He fears if the boy ever lets loose, that this power might consume him.
The elder then thanks Neil. If the elder had continued any further, he might have drained all of his energy, which could have led to his death. However, despite only pulling out a portion of the boy's power, the effects it had was evident for the both of them. Gohan could feel the incredible power coursing through him. Now, let's discuss the power levels. On the left is their power levels before getting their potential unlocked, and on the right is the initial power boost after. Krillin before was at a power level of 4,300, and after the potential unlock, it became 31,000. I gave Krillin the same boost as in canon, which is around the 7.2 times. Gohan before was at a power level of 1,800, and after is now at 16,800. Gohan is quite a bit stronger. He had 2 training partners along with his hybrid potential and Zenkai boost, allowing him to grow a lot stronger in a short amount of time. His boost is also around the same as canon, which is around a 9.3 times boost. Chaozu before was at a power level of 1,520, and after is now at a power level of 7,600. I also added a new category that I will explain shortly. It focuses on Chaozu's psychic powers. His psychic powers before were at a power level of 3,040, and now is now at 30,400. Now, Chaozu was a tricky one. He obviously has less potential than Krillin, so I gave him a 5 times boost instead. But that's not all. I decided to make a subcategory for Chaozu's psychic powers. Here's how it works. If Chaozu's power level is at 1,000, and his opponent is at a power level of 2,500, but Chaozu's psychic power level is at 3,000, then that means that while Chaozu's physical strength might not be effective, his psychic power is strong enough to still fully affect and hurt his opponents with. His initial psychic power level was around 2 times his base strength. After his potential unlock again, it evolved his psychic powers, making it stronger and more potent. It's now about 4 times his base strength, which will explain the power levels I gave him. Which means that despite his small stature, his psychic powers are strong enough to be able to hurt someone like Krillin, for example. And some extra people, we have Vegeta, before at power level 24,000, which is after his battle on Earth, and is now at 40,000 after his fight with Zarbon. Vegeta's power level stays relatively the same. In his fights, he usually gets beat until he is in critical condition. Neil is at a power level of 90,000, around the same as canon, fitting for the strongest defender of Namek. Now, for some lore on how Elder's Guru potential unlocking works. It's a mostly key-based technique involving some magic that brings out the latent potential of a person. Latent potential in simple terms refer to a power that could be reached. This is different from hidden potential, which will be discussed at a later date. But some of you might ask, well, what do I mean by initial potential unlock? Well, it refers to the power they got right after they got their potentials unlocked. Wait, so does that mean there's more? Yes. Remember, in the Zaizenshuu, Krillin's power after getting his potential unlocked is at 14,000, but it's revealed later during the Frieza fight that his power level jumped to 75,000. This implies further growth that he received after potential unlocking. Well, it's something I'm going to implement in my rewrite anyways. The power gained from potential unlocking will slowly increase over time. The explanation for this is that the initial power boost is the amount their bodies could currently handle. Because if all that power is released all at once, then you might be dealing with another Cell situation. More power will slowly be pulled out as their bodies get more adjusted to their increase. Alright, that'll be all. Back to our show. Vegeta bursts into the room, demanding what has happened. Neil demands Vegeta step outside, but he refuses. But as the two stare daggers at each other and were about to fight, the group then sends 5 large key signatures, entering the planet's atmosphere from space. And they were coming right at them. Damn it, Vegeta curses. Despite only learning to sense ki only recently, he tells the group that it must be none other than the Ginyu Force. Frieza must have called them for assistance. The group consisting of Krillin, Gohan, Chaozu, Vegeta, and Neil then rush out of Guru's palace, awaiting the arrival of their foes. 5 space pods land in front of them, Neil ordering the inhabitants of the village to evacuate as they might have to battle. 5 individuals then exit the ship. The warriors are met by a short, tubby, 4-eyed green alien, an average-looking male with red skin and long white hair, the tallest of the group being blue, a pretty human-looking muscular guy with ginger hair, and what they presume is the captain of the group, named Ginyu, standing in the middle of them, with purple skin and straight horns protruding out of his head. The group get into a battle stance, ready to fight, but then the 5 adversaries start posing, yelling out each other's names and ending it off with a goofy group pose, yelling out once more that they are the Ginyu Force. Krillin was completely dumbfounded. Chaozu in the same boat. He's not that childish. Gohan actually giggles a little. He finds it kinda cool. Vegeta just scoffs, already knowing about their antics.
Are they mocking us?
Neil asks, watching the stupid display unfolding in front of him. Goldo, your pose is off by 2 inches. Ginyu reprimands. Sorry, boss, the alien replies.
Ugh, it's alright. Just get it right next time,
Ginyu says.
Look, boss, there's 5 of them, including Vegeta. How about 5v5, eh?
Jace asks. The 5 then huddle together to discuss what to do.
Unbelievable,
Vegeta says, while crossing his arms. The group then start playing rock, paper, scissors.
Enough fooling around, damn it. Battle us like true warriors,
Neil yells out in anger.
Sorry, you gotta wait your turn, Green Man,
Goldo replies. Goldo proceeds to win the rock, paper, scissors. The rest are bummed out as Goldo celebrates and picks out his opponent.
You there, short stack,
Goldo points. Who are you calling shorty, baldy? Chaozu replies, realizing he was pointing at him. The 2 square off, now irritated at each other's comment. Buddha becoming a referee as he counts down.
3, 2, 1, fight!
Goldo and Chaozu then rush at each other, reeling back their fists, ready to send a punch right at one another. And cut! Alright, that's all folks for part 1 of the Namek saga. In part 2, you'll get to see how our fighters fare against the Ginyu Force, as well as the impending danger, that is, Frieza. Will the group be able to come out unscathed? Well, again, thank you guys for all the support. If you can get this video to maybe like 10 likes, then I'll release part 2 of Namek a lot sooner. Find out next time on Dragon Ball Z Rewrite.